Come one, come all to the Raw Deal Podcast, episode 30. Yeah.
Oh shit, 29, 30. I forgot.
30. Yeah, I think it's 30. Yeah, the last one was 29. Anyway, I'm wearing glasses. Go ahead, call me a four-eyed freak. It's fine.
Looking fancy.
So overall, we had a pretty damn good week of our weekend of wrestling, and honestly, the Monday Night Raw and like Raw and SmackDown were all right too. I didn't think anything really just shit the bed, right?
Yeah, nothing.
There were individual matches that like we could have done without, right? But overall, every show was pretty solid, right?
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah. Every show was something I'd recommend to someone to watch.
Oh, exactly. Especially Takeover, which is expected. So, speaking of Takeover, let's hop straight into it since we have to do reactions for 4 shows this week. Let's start with a Takeover, and we're gonna start with the. Let's start with the very end of the show. So we had Authors of Pain versus DIY. Everyone was speculating, maybe this is DIY's last match. If so, they'll get a curtain call, probably get called up to the main roster. It's either they're getting called up to the main roster or Ciampa's turning on Gargano because, let's be real. He's the right one to turn heel, right? And at the end of the night, we definitely got one of those. Break it down, Charlie. Or not.
Okay.
That's cool, too. Charlie, you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It must have been lagging on my end. It just kind of went blank. But they had a pretty solid match. Went about 20 minutes. It was a good ladder match. It was in the main event of the show, which is pretty cool.
That spot though.
They usually don't.
A lot of people thought it was cut.
Yeah,
Charlie
exactly.
texted that to me while we were watching.
Yeah, it literally felt like it was cut, and they put it over the NXT Championship. It makes Authors of Pain feel like, they are this good. Which they
are.
They've really turned up since their debut. And then
they pulled a Strowman and just over delivered every single pay-per-view.
Dude, that spot with the giant ladder and them being put through the other 2 ladders. Oh my!
Oh yeah, that was good. That was good.
Did you see Johnny Gargano almost die coming off?
They both almost died. They both did
When you have near-death experiences in a ladder match, it's a good match to watch. And then it ends with the heartbreak of. They even pull up the little graphic on the screen where they traditionally say that they're going off air.
Dude, yeah, they pull up the watermark. People probably turn that shit off right then.
Yeah. And then Ciampa he's hugging him, turns, throws his ass into the wall. And then
how many people do you think Panic just saw like tweets from WWE? Like after they turned it off, and like, all right, good takeover. And then all of a sudden they go on Twitter and they see everyone, oh my God, no Ciampa, no. And they're just like scrambling to pull the app back up.
Honestly, there's probably a couple of people that were like,
oh God, yeah.
Wait, what? What happened? And just the acting in Johnny Gargano's eyes, you really felt like it, it took that, it just made it feel all that much just more realistic and just a real betrayal. And
now,
now we have a feud that's non-title going into the next Takeover. And I can't remember the last time we were able to say that a non-title feud in NXT is a thing to look forward to.
And now you have the legendary heel from the indie circuit, Tommaso Ciampa, versus Johnny freaking Wrestling, and it's going to be, they're both great in the ring. It's going to be, the match itself is going to be probably given 5 stars. It's the match of the year candidate already. You know what I mean? Like,
they had a great match at the Cruiserweight Classic the year before, so.
There you go. Right there.
Now it's going to be a 3-4 month feud built into it. So it's going to be fun. And then I personally, I think this is the right call. Looking back, they didn't need to be called up, so
No, they didn't. It's fine keeping them down there. It makes it more special when they get called up.
Yep, exactly. And you can put them on different brands and go from there.
Yeah,
I agree. So another big match that we had. We've chosen basically each of us to pick one match because we want to talk about the whole thing. So let's throw it over to Garrett. Tell us about the women's match. We had Asuka versus Nikki Cross versus Ruby Riott for the title.
So I don't know if you guys remember. So last week on the podcast, I basically said what I thought was going to happen was that Asuka was gonna throw Ruby Riott out, then she was gonna battle with Nikki Cross for a bit, and then Ruby was gonna come in and try and win and almost win or whatever, and that exact that exact thing happened, and then Ruby Riott gets thrown out again, and then Nikki Cross and Asuka go for a while, and then Nikki Cross gets thrown out, and Ruby Riott comes back in for a while, and we're all like, where are they going with this? And then who does she pin? Oh yeah, so Nikki Cross comes back. Yeah, Nikki Cross comes back into the ring, and Ruby Riott and Asuka had already gotten back out.
Ruby hit her finisher on Nikki, and then Asuka came in, hit her finisher on Ruby, and pinned them both.
Right, and then and it kind of like they like to do the swerve thing on NXT a lot, but like that just felt like kind of. I mean, I guess they kind of have to keep the belt on her until Ember comes back because they need a legitimate person to just throw in there and have the belt. Which I think they have two people in that match so they could legitimately put it on and it'd be okay. But like either way, they kept the belt on Asuka. Like I said, it felt kind of jarring to me at first because while it was like your regular NXT swerve of the show, I felt like we already talked about the actual swerve of the show in the last segment, and for this particular one, I want to know your guys' opinion because I just felt like you could have put this belt on them and held it down with Asuka still in the contention while you're waiting for Ember to come back. I mean, that was just my opinion. What do you guys think,
Charlie?
I thought it just made her look like the dominant beast that she's been, pinning them both at the same time.
Well, she's gonna break it's Paige's record, right? It's guaranteed at this point.
Oh, yeah, she's broken them all by a long shot.
They're only going to lose title. Like NXT, they only lose titles almost all the time. They only lose them on takeovers.
She could lose it tomorrow at the takeovers, or at the tapings. So who knows?
Yeah.
Which we're going to, so we'll let you
know. Boy. Send me spoilers, boys.
Do you want spoilers?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes,
I'll send you messages while we're...
I don't always get to watch it anyway. Sometimes I have to binge it all.
But I think her beating. I think the moral of the thing is pinning them both proves that this 420-day title reign is no fluke. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean she won a fatal 4-way at the last takeover. She won a triple threat at this takeover. So she's beat what? 5 girls in a couple months. Like she's gone through the entire division except for Ember Moon, and she's still hurt.
No, she beat Ember Moon 1-on-1.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mickey James, Bayley, Nia Jax, she's beat them all.
Yeah. Which begs the question, now that we have the announced Mae Young Classic, which will be a 32-women tournament taking place on, I believe it was the July 13th and 14th. Yep.
13th and 14th.
So July 13th and 14th, right at Full Sail, right where the NXT tapings are. They're doing it just like the CWC and the UK tournament, and there's always a prize at the end. I think we can all agree, like, the number one contender spot would be something that makes a lot of sense, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's July 13th and 14th in Orlando, and the next takeover is August 19th. So they would still have almost a month, over a month. They would have over a month to build for that title match if they wanted to take the winner of the tournament to face Asuka one-on-one. I think that would be perfect.
Yeah. It makes sense.
It'd be great. So anyway, the last match, I don't want to go too in-depth on it, but the last match that we should talk about is the match of the weekend, hands down, right? Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne. I asked Charlie outside, like right before TakeOver was going on, I was like, what are you most looking forward to? And Charlie was like, dude, it's so hard because there's going to be so many good matches. And I was like, hands down, Bate versus Dunne. And Charlie was like, yeah, I think so too because of how much I like Pete Dunne. Charlie loves Pete Dunne. They're in a stable together. They're in Mustache Mountain together on the indies. They know each other so well.
And you can tell.
You could just tell there was no feeling out process. They just went for it, and it was fantastic. Their styles clashed so differently. It's weird that Tyler Bate looked like he was 16 when he won the UK tournament. Now he looks like he's 40. But hey, facial hair does that to a guy, I guess. So I don't know. It was just it was a great match. It's one of those matches where if I'm trying to get someone into wrestling, and I think that they would like the in-ring stuff more than the storylines, this is one of those matches where I'm like, yeah, watch this. Because you don't need to know any background on any of the guys, on either of the guys, in order to enjoy this match, right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'd agree with that.
when he hit that bitter end, the crowd just popped. It was great.
It was.
Pete Dunne is good enough to be in the main event.
Dude,
Now,
he's good enough that I think he can keep
that's
his
not saying
gimmick.
Tyler Bates is bad. Tyler Bates could be there too, but Pete Dunne right now could be there.
Let's be real. Tyler Bate was a glorified transitional champion. I mean, he was great, but I mean, that's what they looked at him as, you know?
Yeah.
Well, you always want to build that underdog.
As your first guy, the
Plus, the
TJ Perkins.
The next takeover, we're going to get to see a rematch. So,
Oh, God, I know, right?
like, that's the great thing. Like, since the
That
title,
might main event Brooklyn 3. That literally might main event it.
I think it should.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly. So, the other two matches we had were Roderick Strong versus Eric Young. Roderick Strong ended up winning that. And Bobby Roode versus Hideo Itami. Bobby Roode retained. Roode versus Itami, Charlie and I were watching the whole time. We're like, this is a good match. But I'm not invested enough in either of the guys to care. So that's kind of how I felt. Garrett, did you have any huge takeaways from Roode Itami really quick?
It was because Tommy is back, and they need to establish him so that after Roode is no longer champion, he can go after whatever person is there, because there'll probably be a couple more champions down the road before we really see him in a feud again. We took away from it that we're not really doing anything with Tommy right now. Which
I just sent him to 205 Live. That's my thoughts. It's not, but he's a known name, and it would just, you know.
I think since Itami, like he might fade in, just be a normal guy now in NXT, or they could call him up as like, who knows, maybe he'll do something on the main roster. I think back when Itami first got hurt and they played up the storyline of he got jumped, and it was obvious they were going to say that it was Kevin Owens back then, it would have been really cool had they said that it was Bobby Roode, because at the time Bobby Roode was still in TNA, so he was in Orlando at the same time as Itami. If they would have played something up to where like Roode was jealous that Itami was on the brand that everyone wants to be on, he was in the company, that could have been a really cool way to close out the Itami storyline and at the same time add something, you know?
Because they showed that again recently on NXT, so that's...
Yeah, like, you know, it would be nice to just do that. Anyway.
Maybe that's their plan to continue the feud, but who knows?
Takeover, I give it a solid A. The only
just a weird little side note.
Every single match, so I can't give it an A+, but I'll give it an A. Charlie?
Yeah, I'll say A too. Honestly, it was about as good as it gets.
Yep. Garrett?
Match-wise.
Yeah. Well, I will also give it an A. It was a
solid
good show.
A's. Hey, that's rare, man. Usually we get some pessimists. So flipping over to Backlash, I'll skim over some of the matches right now. We had Ty Dillinger beating Aiden English, which was the right call. It was a showcase of Dillinger, but also English ain't he ain't no scrub, you know what I mean? Which is nice. It's good that
he had some good heat
something with his character.
Yeah, that was
solid heat. It was good.
That was a good in-ring match, honestly.
Then we had Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan. Once again, solid match, especially if you like big men, you know, going against each other. And where they were put on the card was in the death spot right after Owens and Styles. So people were just kind of drained. If they would have put it a different spot, I think people would have appreciated it more. It was one of those things where like people don't really care too much about the guys, but they know each other so well that they put on a decent match. You know. Then we had Sami Zayn defeating Baron Corbin.
Upset of the year.
What?
Upset of the year.
Clean, just fucking.
I love how Sami Zayn went on talking smack though, and he said, "I hate how everyone thinks that every time I win, it's this huge upset." And he was like,
that was good.
He was like, "Look at what just happened," you know, with the main event. He's like, "Look at what just happened. Anyone can beat anyone else on any single day," which I like that, you know. So then we had the women's tag match. You know, the welcoming committee, which they didn't really say their name like at all during the match. So I guess that was just a 1 week thing, but they're still together, kind of. Really weird.
Yeah. Thinker match.
The big point was that they're making sure like all the women seem equal right now. So Natalya ended up submitting Becky Lynch, which was an interesting way to go, but still the team that we thought was going to win ended up winning, which leads us to the three big matches on the card. We had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler, which they put out first, which I was very thankful of because that means they were gonna let him go. You know what I mean? So break it down, Charlie.
Well, the Shinsuke one or the tag?
Shinsuke. Oh, sorry. No, sorry. You're doing I want to skim over Shinsuke versus Dolph Ziggler. Sorry.
Gotcha.
I was jumping the gun. Anyway, so Shinsuke Nakamura won his debut match. Something that I thought was interesting was they didn't do anything special with his entrance. Even though they did when he first made his debut, they had the live violinist.
Yeah.
So it was just, I don't know, it was a little strange that they didn't do anything special. It didn't feel as big as it probably should have, but it was still a great exhibition of the two guys. It was exactly what we thought it was going to be. Maybe not, it was nowhere near Nakamura Zayn, right? That was in a smaller venue, and it was much more personal with the fans. Whereas here, it's like fans, main roster fans, a lot of them are just going to have a good time. They're not too invested in the characters as much generally.
Yeah, that, and it was more of like an underdog win for Nakamura, which is not what the first one was.
That's true. Nakamura, he sold a lot more than he probably should.
Ziggler dominated most of that match, which is not not what Nakamura does, is get dominated and win.
It makes Ziggler look really strong. So
that's true.
But that's the thing. That's what makes Nakamura so great. He does the heel thing and beats the crap out of people just till they're incapacitated, but everyone loves him, even though he acts like a babyface and he's got the entrance and everyone's just mesmerized by the guy. It's just a thing, but they're messing it up. They need to fix their crap.
Well, something that I like, they played a little safe in the match, but Ziggler got his offense in, Nakamura got his offense in, and Ziggler sold the hell out of the shots at the end. That was the best anyone has sold that on NXT main roster anything. It was fantastic.
He made it look like it killed him.
Oh, dude. Sami Zayn took the first one and it killed him. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now I want to cut back into the we're going out of match order of what happened, but I want to talk about Usos versus Breezango. So first, we had a Fashion Files on Backlash right before the match happened, and basically Breezango had been going undercover since SmackDown earlier in the week, trying to get some dirt on the Usos, and he had been disguising himself as a janitor the whole time. But Tyler Breeze had not both of them, but just Tyler Breeze. So Tyler Breeze had been so undercover, he forgot who he was. He thought he was an actual janitor, and Fandango had to make him snap out of it, but he was having a hard time doing it. So Tyler Breeze comes down to the ring in his janitor outfit, and we had a lot of shenanigans in this, but at the same time, when you look at the actual match, it was pretty good. So tell us about it, Charlie.
Yeah, it was, for the first time in a while, just a really well-done comedy match. When I first started watching, Sandow and The Miz were a tag team, and they had some really good comedy matches because of how just creative Sandow was. Mizdow when he was that. And just there was the little things that we've seen with the Fashion Files, because the Fashion Files as a whole, they just have all these little funny things in it, right? So when the Usos are going to do the splash finish and Tyler Breeze keeps rolling and then rolling back and rolling, and then he turns into a grandma, and
that one call from JBL though.
Wait, which one?
When he got the shirt thrown on him. Last time I had to pay for that.
Oh, dude.
The other
last
one.
Time that happened, I paid for it.
No, the other one. The other one. The dead wrestler that he referenced.
I can't even.
I have no idea.
The 9,000 day women's champion.
Oh, when he was talking about who he thought she was in the ring.
I can't remember her name.
Moolah?
Yeah, Moolah.
Oh.
Yeah, he thought she
Moolah
was in the
came
ring.
back from the dead.
Oh. Yeah, it was JVL added a lot to the match, which we don't say a lot, but he is good, man. I don't know. He seems much more lighthearted lately.
Yeah, I think he's had a wake up call.
Hopefully, right?
Or someone started bullying him.
This was much better than I think they would have had just a regular old normal match. And this comedy really brought out that Breezango can be, like, they can be actually really good. You know, you need comedy in some aspect of the show. Why not give it to them?
The way I see it is, okay. So I look at a like a musical group, right? If a music group is just getting started, they might do a lot of covers, like Pentatonics, for instance, if you ever listen to them. So Pentatonics, they started off just doing all their covers on YouTube, right? And it was all covers, and people loved them for their covers. It's kind of like Breezango. They were a joke. You know, they had their comedy, and that was it. But people forget that they're their own wrestlers. So as these musical groups, as Pentatonics released their first album, it's all covers. Second album, they put one cover on it. Third album, they put like three original songs on it. And they slowly add more and more original songs till all of a sudden they're actually a legit group. And I feel like Breezango can do that, where they're all comedy. And then they slowly sprinkle in, oh, wow, these guys are actually really good in the ring. And all of a sudden they become more and more legitimate. And within a couple months, they could potentially just be seen as a great tag team.
Johnny Curtis needs the gold, baby.
In the same way that it happened with Heath Slater and Rhino, we keep making comparisons to them, and that's exactly the same thing because Heath Slater was always good enough in the ring, and everyone just loves Rhino's in-ring style, so it just worked.
Breezango's a million times better in the ring than Heath Slater and Rhino, though.
Absolutely. So I think they have a better chance of lasting longer in that respect.
Fandango's good, man. Tyler Bree's he's got good spots too, but like Fandango's really good. Like I love his work in the ring. But
they both have a good look too.
Tyler Breeze had the fans chanting, "Let's go, Grandma! Come on!" Like, all right. So our co-main event of the night was Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles, which most assumed was going to be the match of the weekend on Backlash, Takeover, everything. Everyone was like, "Well, this is the match we're most looking forward to," and it was only for the U.S. title. So tell us about it, Garrett.
So it was a really interesting match. So you had the great in-ring work of Styles and Owens. I mean, there was like a sunset flip, and Owens literally looked like he landed on his neck. I mean, like there's all kinds of really crazy stuff. Like I was hoping that somehow they could make like a weird spot. Like this is the spot that I imagined in my head that didn't happen. But like he like pushes him into the ropes for a pop-up powerbomb, and AJ somehow springs himself up onto the ropes and like hits a forearm or something. And then like goes for like a 2 count, like a really close 2 count. But that didn't happen. But that would have been cool. But but like there's all kinds of crazy spots in this. I can't even name them all. It had like a bit of an iffy finish to it to me. Like I felt like it left that AJ didn't really lose the match, but he also did lose the match.
That means we get it again.
Yes, and it means the second match will probably be better. It means in the second match, AJ probably will win the belt so that they can go for a third match, and then whatever happens there. I mean, and well, we'll get into why that may or may not be happening right away too, in a minute. But but yeah, I mean, going into SmackDown, I was thinking, okay, this feud's going to continue, and this is going to be probably the same as AJ Styles versus Cena from the year prior, and it'll end probably similarly, except with the heel going over in the end this time instead of the ultimate the face going over this at the end. But AJ's sort of in between right now anyway. It doesn't really matter, So yeah, what do you guys think?
I think my favorite part was the finish at the end, just very creative way to get a count out win, and I think that just shows just how technically sound, in a way, Kevin Owens is at just finding different ways to make a match better and different than the rest.
One of those things, like he doesn't. Well, I don't know why wrestlers all the time have to be idiots.
Yeah, exactly.
Marty, it wasn't like a slimy thing. He didn't like take out handcuffs and handcuff him like we've seen some superstars do. And it seemed like it was an in the moment. He was up on the table and he was like, "Oh shit. Let's do this. Let's give it a try." And it's like, wow, he is.
We can all agree that does not make AJ Styles look bad for losing.
No, not at all.
Like that, So
they both benefited. It was great.
Yep.
Both of them came out looking like.
Anytime you can do that in a match, it's fantastic, right?
Anytime you can do that in a title match, even because they both came out looking super strong. AJ didn't lose anything. Kevin didn't lose anything. I mean, what impressed me the most was that AJ Styles is known as this like uber athletic guy and super fast, super whatever. And KO kept up with him the entire time, and he didn't even look tired.
Yeah.
So that really, because a lot of people are going to judge him immediately because he's not the prime wrestler. Dude, do you see his arms? Jeez, they're like. Do you see
definition?
Another example is Bray Wyatt. We'll get into that, but that Bray Wyatt is also looking great. You know what I mean? Like these guys are starting to, I think, gain that just from doing it every week. I'm going too long. All right, go ahead.
All right, so that leads us to the main event of the night. I have to say, Orton and Mahal, the match itself, way over-delivered for me. I thoroughly enjoyed the match.
Way better than what anyone thought.
Garrett, did you like it?
I like when that Singh brother almost died. No.
That was a good part.
And I mean, it's
a good aspect to the match.
You don't have to agree with us. It's just Charlie and I were watching. We were like, all right, well, we thought this was going to be awful, but it's really, I thought it was good.
I like the match. I'm not saying I didn't like the match. I disagree with the result.
Oh my God, this bitch just crushed her leg.
Wait, what?
Sorry. Team Ninja Warrior.
I knew
you
were about to say Team Ninja Warrior. I knew you were watching that shit.
It was on upstairs.
Dude, I have to keep it on after SmackDown. It's a thing now.
Just a side note. It kind of just goes to what Garrett was saying. A lot of people, not you, Garrett, but they'll take the finish of the match and just say that's all that mattered. Like they'll be, they would have saw that AJ Styles and Kevin Owens match, saw Kevin Owens wins by countout. What the fuck? Bullshit. This sucks. Fuck this.
Yep.
Or
a lot of people do that too. They just go on there, which is why we prefer people to come listen to our podcast instead of just go look at what's written on paper.
Yep.
I mean, we saw it. I mean, there's some times where it's okay, like when Mahal originally won the number 1 contender spot. You didn't need any context.
He still hasn't won a match. That's my only thing is he still hasn't won an actual match on his own. And
see, I kind of like that more.
It's
in a way. Yeah, exactly.
And now if he's a transitional champion, we can't say, well, what the hell, man? They make him look strong and then kill him a month later. Like, if you're going to give the guy the title, at least let him run with it and let him look strong. He's never looked strong. That's the thing.
This isn't the Great Khali walking out and beating Randy Orton in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of like about it.
So anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jinder Mahal ends up winning the match. So Randy Orton, they did a fantastic job with it. I love how they didn't keep it in the ring most of the time. Mahal did the stereotypical slimy things. He'd run out and get checked on by his boys and stuff like that. And he was the pace was slow, but Orton was trying to push it, which was good. This was a really good Randy Orton match. The psychology in it was fantastic. That's what I loved. And then they used the table on the outside. They used a lot of spots on the apron. They really just went all around, used everything in their arsenal. So pretty much Mahal ends up getting a lot of offense in, and honestly is pretty clean. He didn't get a lot of help from the Singh brothers when he was getting in his offense, which is good. Randy Orton almost hits an RKO, and Mahal manages to scamper out of the or he gets pulled out of the ring by the Singh brothers before he gets RKO'd.
Oh, yeah.
So that was good. That was really good. And then right after that, Mahal goes for his finisher. Randy Orton counters, almost gets a pin. It wasn't an RKO. And then Jinder gets back up, and Randy Orton RKO's him. But after Jinder gets RKO'd, he rolls out of the ring. So then Orton at that point, he's super pissed off, and Mahal is still down. So he goes over and almost literally kills the Singh brothers, especially the second one. So he takes them.
The good one.
He did your stereotypical. He raised him up like he was going to give him a suplex where they're straight up, but then instead of giving him a suplex, he pushes them forward so they just do a backflip. And the first one kind of landed on his back like you should on the Spanish announce table. And then on the English announce table, he got way too much rotation and landed flat on his neck, right on the back. And even Orton made a face oh shit.
No, you fucked up. Win.
that was a little too much. You know what I mean? It's like
Oh,
he
yeah.
didn't know his own strength.
Dude, the Singh brothers are badasses. They did that spot, and the next spot they did was literally a draping DDT. So
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So that's the thing. He flings both of them. And then the second one gets up like 10 seconds later, and Orton drags them both into the ring, gives them both DDTs, and that's when the camera angle was perfect. Because as he was giving the Singh brothers DDTs into the ring, his regular like off the rope DDT,
Richard Jordan.
you see Mahal sliding under the rope into the ring, and I looked over at Charlie. I was like, "There it is. He's about to win."
It's
And
happening.
Charlie was like, "Oh shit!" And he hits him with the Cobra Clutch Slam and gets the 1-2-3, and Jinder Mahal is the new champ.
The Colossus.
I don't know. I love it, and I don't know why. I think he deserves it, and this is way better than if they would have thrown the title on Ellsworth. And honestly, right now, quick hit, who would you rather see the title on, Jinder Mahal or Goldberg, Charlie?
I'd say Mahal, because we're going to have Mahal in the company for another 10 years. He's 30 years old. He's one of the youngest superstars on the roster.
Yep. He got signed when he was 23.
I will
And-
say
and-
this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say a little side note, but yours is more to this, so go ahead.
Garrett?
Might have lost him.
Might have
No,
lost
I'm
him,
good.
right?
I'm good.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think he looks great with the belt, especially this on SmackDown. He looks amazing with the belt. You know, like
Looks like a champion.
yeah, I didn't think he would, and then like after he hit the Colossus and he was after the match holding the belt up, I was like, man, this guy looks great. And then yeah, like I said on SmackDown, I was like, wow, that's just it surprised me how much. So I'm still not 100% like on board with it. If he turns out to be a great champion, then yeah, I'll take back everything I say. But like I just inherently it seems like a bad decision.
It's very, very ballsy.
Oh, yeah. So, Backlash, overall, grade for it. I'll give it. It was not as good as Takeover, so I can't give it an A or anything. I will give it. When you look at the overall thing, I thought Orton Mahal was good, Owen Styles good, Ziggler Nakamura good, tag match good, but then the other ones were kind of hit or miss. So I'll give it a solid B+. Garrett?
I'm giving it a C+.
Charlie?
I'm going to go A-.
Nice.
Only thing I didn't really like was just the collage of the women's match.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
that
about
combined with the gender thing that just pushes it down for me as
Yeah.
an overall show.
Right, exactly. You just didn't agree with the call just to put the belt on him. It wasn't necessarily that it was a bad match.
Well, I didn't agree with the call in the women's match either. That was so stupid.
Yeah, especially since they got rid of the whole welcoming committee thing.
Yeah.
Then it was just a team of heels. It's like, well, they're just not even going to be anything special anymore. You might as well let the faces win. Because
Yeah. Did we lose Brady?
Did we? Oh, I thought I thought we lost me.
No.
Hey, he's
he's
the
back.
only one that can beat Brock Lesnar. And out of all the guys in this match, I'm most intrigued personally for a Wyatt Lesnar match more than who else is in it. Reigns, Ambrose, Balor.
We lost you for a second, Brady.
No, not even Ambrose, dude. Yeah, they left their Intercontinental Champion out of it.
Wait. Where do you lose me at?
Well, you came in saying about the just now what you were saying about
The names.
the Fatal Five.
Oh, okay, yeah. We started off with a Bray Wyatt promo, which I love Bray Wyatt promos.
I
And
hate 'em.
he made a lot of good points as to why he is the most credible person to face Brock Lesnar. And I am most excited than I am for anybody else. What the hell? Why am I blobbing? Why are there two of me? What is going on?
I don't know.
Hear me?
It's being. Yeah, we hear you fine.
What the hell?
Hangouts is
All
being weird right now.
A blob that has its mind of its own this week.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
I can see your camera.
That's why I cut out. All right, then. So anyway, like, because I'm not the biggest Balor fan, he'd probably be the most interesting for a lot of people. But the Fatal 5-Way match is what? Reigns, Wyatt, Balor,
Joe and Rollins.
There you go. Joe and Rollins.
5. That's 5.
Joe and Lesnar could be good, but I don't see how they would build it up to pique my interest at all.
The only one that doesn't have a chance is Rollins.
Hey, man, Mahal is the world champion.
I know that, but I'm just saying, like, and I don't think Reigns has a chance to win this match either.
Yeah, especially
Rollins
since
could win.
they're bumping them up as what did they say? They said Reigns and Wyatt are the 2 favorites in the match, which I hated that they said that, and I was like, shit. It looks like they're building for Balor to win, but we'll talk about that. So
interestingly, on that point, I put up. So me and Charlie are in this Facebook group about wrestling, and I put up a poll earlier. I said, "Who do you think will win the Fatal 5-Way Extreme Rules match?" And overwhelmingly, Balor got 17 votes, Reigns got 4, and Joe got 1, and then Bray Wyatt also got 1. That vote was from Charlie. If Charlie was here, he could do that.
All right, the blob left, which is good. So
we are blobless.
That is pretty interesting. That's what people think. So that led straight into Kurt Angle coming out saying Reigns versus Wyatt. We're having a match right now. It was good because Wyatt and Reigns are, they have a lot of history together, and this ends up getting delayed for later on in the night because who came out first to interfere?
Joe.
That's right. Yeah. So Joe came out to help Wyatt, and then Seth came out to make the save, which set up the tag match for later on in the night. So we had Reigns and Rollins against Wyatt and Joe, which I'm totally down with for the main event. Going past that, we had the debut of Elias Sampson. We see him backstage, and Kurt Angle's like, "Hey, I'm putting you in a match with him, bros." And Sampson comes out and plays his guitar, and he's got some actual heat, which I love. Charlie, are you here? All right, no one's here. I'm talking to myself. I think I'm talking to you guys. But there we go. Garrett joined the call. Yeah, it's being a little weird tonight, guys, but bear with us. So we move on to Dean Ambrose versus Elias Sampson, which was interesting because it's like, okay, well, debuting guys always end up winning their first match, but usually they don't put them in against a champion right away, So Ambrose comes in and ends up getting, and The Miz is on commentary. It actually feels like a big match, even though there's no background to Elias Sampson at all. Very weird. Charlie says he can hear me, but I can't hear him. All right. Well, I don't know if you can try leaving and coming back in, but
can you hear me?
Yeah, you're pretty light, but a little bit. It's all right. I can carry this.
No, it's good.
So anyway, The Miz ends up coming in. Pretty much the stipulation for Ambrose versus Miz when they have their title match, is it at the next pay-per-view? I think it is.
Yes.
Is that if Ambrose gets disqualified, then he loses the title. So they're playing off the disqualification thing. The Miz comes in and kicks Elias Sampson, or he just axe handles him in the back, which means that Sampson wins via disqualification because it's that's how it is. If you're the one that gets attacked, then you win. So The Miz comes in and gifts the match to Sampson, and Ambrose loses, and I don't know why he's pissed off because winning and losing doesn't matter. He's still the champion, but
there we go.
I don't know. There we go. Hey, what's up, Chaz?
Anyway, I was just going to say, really quickly, think about that for a second. At the Extreme Rules, there's going to be a match where if you get disqualified, you lose the title.
Yeah, that's pretty lame.
We also have two women's wrestlers.
Wow.
Kendo stick on a pole match.
Yeah, did you see that they gave a little insight to it too? They're like, if you get the kendo stick, you can hit them, but they had to clarify a little bit.
Well, let me ask you this:
right?
Does that mean that if the other person tries to use the kendo stick after it's been got down, that
yes,
They're gonna get
They're
DQ'd.
disqualified.
Why even have a kendo stick there then? If only one person can use it. It means that person's literally gonna win.
I don't even know.
Not necessarily. You never know. But yeah, it was just very interesting. I mean, that would make the stipulation was first person to get the kendo stick. That's it. There's a kendo stick in the match. And it's like, well, fuck it. I'll just run over and grab. Both of them would just be like, fuck it. Let's just introduce the kendo stick.
What if they both grab it at the same time? Does that mean they both get to use it?
They both get in, they snap it in half, and then beat the shit out of each other with it.
Oh my god.
No, those kendo sticks are hard to snap, bro. I don't think they could. Charlie, I know you're such a huge Drifter fan, bro. What'd you think of his debut?
You know, it was there. Have you noticed that he's been in a lot of Miz segments? And then Miz helped him get the win, and then he beat up Ambrose after, so that could be something.
He also said that they just barely caught it. He said, I won't forget. So what I'm thinking, because it's a disqualification thing, and this is what Miz did to help him win, he will do the same thing to Miz, get Ambrose disqualified, and he's going to win the title. That would be interesting.
I could see it.
That makes a star out of Elias Sampson because now he's associated with the Miz. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there is no better person to be associated with when it comes to like on the mic.
Oh
the
yeah,
entire company. So
that would be cool. I'm down.
That's true. There was a little bit of connection there that would be good. So then we had something very interesting. I liked it. We cut backstage. Our referee has just gone to get Big Cass, and it's obvious that the scene before it that wasn't shown was the referee ran and like grabbed Cass, like, "Yo, you gotta come here. You gotta come here." Cass was walking down the hallway like, "What the hell do you want?" And it pans over, and Enzo has been jumped. He's got a sneaker next to his head for no reason, but whatever. So Enzo has been jumped backstage. I have my theory as to who it was, but we have a little bit of like a murder mystery going on. So who jumped Enzo, Charlie?
Show, man. I like that there's some mystery in the show.
Oh, me too.
It's just, you know, there was just something kind of like this with Enzo too. I think when the brand split first happened, it was always kind of cool. You know, there's a lot of aspects to a TV show, and mystery is one of them that we don't get too much on wrestling. So I'm open with it.
So yeah, the question was
who jumped him, Charlie?
I mean, it's probably going to be someone from the Revival.
I agree. Garrett?
I disagree. I think it was Cass.
That would be really interesting.
Or they kind of hinted at Apollo Crews too, which would also be interesting.
Yeah, that could be good too. Goldust, there's another one. R-Truth, you know,
Goldust will be good.
We got some options.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's cool. It's like, hey, we can think about it, and like, I don't need to go in depth. You know,
it could end up just being Gallows and Anderson, and I'd be like, okay, now that feud's still on. You know, whatever.
It could be Matt Hardy going into a new character, and he's lost his mind, and he had beat the shit out of someone.
See, Enzo and Cass was more if they were the number one contenders right now, or like they were at least number one contender worthy. I could see it, you know, but
yeah, it's not Matt Hardy. I can promise you.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked. I would.
So, anyway, so we'll find in the coming weeks what they're gonna do, and they did a really good thing later on where Big Cass ran into Kurt Angle backstage, and it was like right after commercial break, and Kurt was like, I promise we're going to get to the bottom of who did this. And Cass was like, yeah, you better hope you find out who did this before I find out who did this.
What?
Which is great. Fantastic.
Which is kind of a cool side of Cass. It's a different side that we don't see.
Yep.
No, we've seen it before though. That we've seen him, you know, go berserk for Enzo before, and I think that's where they're going to go for this. And maybe he went berserk on him. That would be a good storyline. Maybe he goes and gets disqualified again in like a number one contender match with Sheamus and Cesaro or something. Like, I don't know. Who knows? So,
in the land of you know, with this term "smark" and internet wrestling community, it's kind of stupid at this point because everyone has the internet and everyone knows what's going on in all the wrestlers' personal lives. We know who's friends with who outside the WWE, right? We know that Finn Balor and Carl Anderson get along really well. They're like best friends. And yet, the WWE just goes, oh, they have a lot of history in Japan. And they're in a match together. And that's it.
Finn's a good brother.
No build-up at all. Why not? I don't know. You can save it. You know, this is something that they should have saved. But hell, we got 3 hours to kill on Raw. Let's pair these two guys together. It's like Vince just said that, like, oh, just put Balor against Anderson. Vince, well, we kind of wanted to save that one. I don't care. 3 hours. We got to kill it. Let's go. All right. Well, it's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
And pretty much there was a little Balor promo before it just saying that he wants to face Brock Lesnar. A lot of people count him out, and Paul Heyman came out and really put him over, saying that he thinks he's the most talented superstar on the roster. He's just not a beast, you know. Paul Heyman put him over a lot, and Balor ends up, facing Carl Anderson, gets the win, blah, blah, blah. It's all good. They're making Balor look strong, right? So
let me ask you something about this. So we had Heyman openly referring to Balor Club. Do you think that there's a possibility that we could see Paul Heyman be like sort of like the voice of Bullet Club, because like he takes Balor in as a Paul Heyman guy, like after Balor were to turn heel or something, and then
I can see WWE doing it, but I don't think they need it. I don't even think they need to come out and say what the Balor Club is or anything. They should just do it.
I don't know. I feel like if they just have Heyman be the voice of it, I mean, you could even throw Brock in because he's one of Heyman's guys. You know what I mean? Like, what does it even matter?
That would ruin it.
That would ruin it, but people would be able to buy into it more that didn't know the whole Bullet Club thing, because they wouldn't be able to do the full Bullet Club in WWE. It just would never happen.
They could have done it with Styles at the lead. And they
nah, it's too un-PG to do the actual Bullet Club.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But.
Well, no, Charlie's saying like they could have reunited them with Styles.
And they kind of did a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
it deserves more justice than that, though.
Yeah, it does, which is probably why they're not going to do it. So anyway.
Not till Cole comes around.
We had, we're getting more and more Alicia Fox. Thumbs up or thumbs down on Alicia Fox?
Treating Noam Dar as a human. I'm down with it.
There we go. Yeah, Noam Dar. I love this, man. We got James Ellsworth being an escort over on SmackDown. We've got Noam Dar being an escort over on Raw. It's about time.
Is this the third or fourth Alicia Fox Sasha Banks match?
But yeah, this is that match.
Third, yes, the rubber.
Rubber match. Which, by the way, I would not use a rubber.
Oh boy.
But so
I am the one you want.
I am the one. I am the son. So I don't know. It was a solid match. Sasha gets the win, right? I believe she got the win. And,
they bring good stuff out of each other. That'd be my
yeah, they're good. Like, give me more Alicia Fox. I'm down, man. Apollo Crews and Kalisto, they have a segment with each other. They get angry at each other. They're not good, man. They're not good. Can we just not talk about it?
Yeah, I threw that on there just for the.
I gotta say, man, Kalisto pinning the guy is just stupid, though.
Yo, bro, we're not at the match yet.
Bruh, spoilers.
Wow.
I thought that's what we were on.
No, bro, we're at their backstage segment.
Oh, well, keep going.
They tease the Apollo Crews.
Killing the vibe. Let me host, bro.
We're skipping all of it. Screw it.
So, and then we had, after that segment, we had an Alexa Bliss interview. Once again, she's really good. We don't need to talk about it too in depth. She's fantastic. Like
5 beat of what is it you say? Fuckable Fury?
Yes. Not my line. Was it Sean John? I think Sean John gave us that, which I got to have him on the show at some point. So then we have the Apollo Crews versus Kalisto match. Who won the match, Charlie?
In about 3 minutes, Kalisto did.
I'm the one with it.
Exactly. Sorry, so Kalisto beat him in 2 minutes and 41 seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
Clean. After you're giving him this push.
Apollo job.
Trying to be real. The only reason Apollo and Titus are out there is because Vince likes to see black people lose.
Dude.
What?
Oh.
Sorry, man. Someone's gonna say it.
I don't know, man.
Are you gonna say that now? Are you gonna say
five-way match, bro?
Now
person.
Now are you gonna say the only reason that Jinder is champion because they're trying to break into the Indian market?
No, the only reason Jinder's champion is because Vince McMahon thinks it will be funny when he comes out and gets squashed by fucking, I don't know.
James Ellsworth.
Exactly.
John Cena comes back July 4th and beats him.
Yep. That's literally the only reason he's champion, because Vince McMahon's like, oh, God, we'll get into that on SmackDown. Something really bothered me on SmackDown this week. I don't know if you saw my tweets from the Visoki channel, but it really goddamn bothered me. So, Matt Hardy versus Sheamus happened.
Again.
It was a good match. I can't really dog it. They're trying to kill time.
It was stipulationception.
Right, exactly. Whoever won the match got to pick the stipulation. And even though a ladder match is the Hardys' expertise, they decided to pick a cage match. And all of a sudden, Sheamus and Cesaro were like, oh no, a cage match. Like, aren't they supposed to be the badasses?
Yeah,
aren't they supposed to be like, hell yeah, put us in a cage? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
They should have just had Sheamus and Cesaro win and be like,
I like that it had a stipulation, but.
Yeah, I like the stipulation though. Steel cage, I'm down.
If it was the Hardys too, they could have picked like a TLC match, because they're never going to see a Raw TLC match anymore, at least until the brands come back together, you know. So unless they do like a dual TLC, which they could do, it's a big enough pay-per-view, but you know, exactly. But they probably won't. And so you could have just had the Hardys, because that was the part of the originators of that, so that would have made more sense. But
so we had Austin Aries versus Fake Neville, in which Austin Aries gets the win, and then the real Neville comes in and beats up Fake Neville. And that was kind of it. Anything you guys want to add?
Fake Neville looked good.
Yeah, just nothing.
We didn't talk about it at all because it was so pointless, but the other cruiserweight match, Davari versus Tozawa.
Oh, yeah.
Just screamed, "We are the cruiserweights! Look at us, we're cruiserweights! Look, we can do flippy stuff. We're cruiserweights!" You know.
It was basically for the announcers to just go, "Wow, look how much the crowd loves that yelling! It's so infectious. We know, dude. We can hear it. We're not dumb."
You know, if they come out here, they have their 2-minute matches, and who's gonna get over in a 2-minute match? Unless you're Braun Strowman against a little random guy.
Whatever. So, I don't know. The cruiserweights, they happen. I mean, they're picking up some steam, but pretty much if Neville wasn't in the division, they'd be dead already.
Yeah.
Oh. Whatever. Fuck it, dude. Just have Ciampa and Gargano both come up in that division. Like,
throw Hideo Itami in it. Throw Kalisto in it.
Could you imagine Johnny wrestling on a 6-month title reign where he just beats every heel?
Yeah, but barely.
But yeah, just barely. And like his first fight is Ciampa, you know.
I mean, there's a lot, dude. If he were to face Ciampa, Nice, Neville, that is totally believable that they would beat the ever-living piss out of Gargano.
Uh-huh.
And then he could barely win by the skin of his teeth every time.
And you can have him be the fighting champion every other week, either on 205 Live or Raw, defending his title against a Davari or a whoever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just, what's the other one? Gulak?
Isn't Aries and Neville facing for the title like right now?
On 205 Live?
No, it's Extreme Rules. Another one of those stipulation matches. It's a submission match.
Oh, yeah. That should be good,
but there's something going on 205 Live tonight that they actually advertised on SmackDown. I was like,
that's Street Fight. It's a street fight between Tozawa and Kendrick.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that looked like it might be good. So, even though
it's the closing of that rivalry.
Incredibly drawn out. So, we had Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James. Alexa Bliss gets the win. I'm down. And then we had the main event, Roman and Seth versus Bray and Joe. We've seen combinations of these guys all facing each other before, but very solid match. It played out how we expected it to play out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It helped Joe.
Joe ended up getting the coquina clutch on Seth. So, I mean, it made Joe look really strong, which he needs to look strong. You know, he seems like the odd man out in that fatal 5-way right now. So
it was almost like, even though Seth's been kind of fully face, even though he still kind of does the tweener stuff for a while now, it was nice for him to have his Stone Cold versus Bret Hart moment where he just passes out because he refuses the tap, you know? So
yeah, exactly.
It was good to see that.
Overall grades for Raw, I mean, once again, felt like they were killing some time and not really much got accomplished. The only thing that actually advanced storylines was the Enzo segment and the Hardy Sheamus stipulation. match. So I'll give it a. But I enjoyed it. I didn't get super bored, so I guess I'll give it like a C plus. Garrett?
I will give it a slightly higher grade. I'll give it a B minus because I enjoyed some of the segments on this more than I did on SmackDown.
Charlie?
I'm gonna agree with you. C plus. Another thing that I liked that we didn't really talk was they had this weird little Goldust promo. That was
Good. Yeah. It was like super old school Goldust.
Yeah, like
when I was really young, like 91, like 94 Goldust. Like
80s to 90s Goldust, really? Attitude Era Goldust, you know.
Really. So that's their whole thing is that him and R-Truth are gonna end up going back to their roots, and they're gonna get another push. They're the goddamn Colons. The Colons.
Fuck.
So
the dark match tonight for SmackDown was it had Ascension, Colons, and some heel, and it was against American Alpha, Luke Harper, Ty Dillinger, and Mojo Rawley. It's like, dude, you got all these really good guys
And to think, when you went to SmackDown and you could have watched the dark match and you could have watched Nakamura versus Ziggler, you chose not to. Meanwhile, most people get stuck with that.
I know, right? Shit.
Anyway, so SmackDown kicked off. We had a big promo. Pretty much Shane McMahon just came out and said, hello, everyone. I'm going to announce all the people for the Money in the Bank match.
I really hate that.
They originally said it was going to be 5 people, but everyone and their cousin was like, it's going to be 6 people.
What?
There's no way they're going to have 5 people in the match. That's just a weird number. Don't do it, So he came out and announced the 5 people coming out. It was AJ Styles, and then Baron Corbin, and then Dolph Ziggler, and then Sami Zayn, and then Kevin Owens comes out, and people are like, oh, that's your 5. And then he's like, no, Kevin's like, it's not you. And then Shinsuke's music hits. So we know that Nakamura is going to be in the match, which is really sweet. So he comes out.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, he comes out, and then Owens throws a bit of a hissy fit, and Shane's like, you know what? You're right. You deserve to be in the match too. So that's going to be our 6 for Money in the Bank. I am pretty damn stoked for how good this match could be. Garrett, how about you? What say you?
I'm stoked about this, but I see a continuity error in this. So you're going to tell me that Nakamura's debut match was enough to get him into this match, but the same guy that lost the match also deserved to be in this match. Who hasn't won in how long?
He's a former 2-time champ, bro.
And he's also a former Money in the Bank winner.
You can't look at it in that aspect.
He is the Del Rio of this one. He's got no chance of winning.
Okay, you got to
Del Rio, and Del Rio had a chance of winning, but he's.
Who are you putting in other than Ziggler?
Who am I putting in other than Ziggler? Was Zayn in this match?
Yes.
Yep.
Let me look. Ty Dillinger.
There's no one else. No, dude. There's no way that they would.
Dillinger.
Dude, why not?
Not yet. There's no way.
Why not?
The guy was on a pre-show match beating Aiden English.
Dude, you're telling me Ty Dillinger could not entertain in the Money in the Bank match?
Next year, just like I thought Neville's first year.
That's like saying the Jaguars deserve to be named the team of the year because the Browns over that's like saying the Jaguars are better than the Falcons because the Falcons lost in the Super Bowl to the Patriots, but the Jaguars beat the Browns.
I talked to my sister about this exact thing. Ziggler adds 2 things. There's 3 heels, 3 faces, right?
Right.
He is the only one that's won it before, and the reason why they didn't put Dillinger in it is because they got to have some type of undercard, and they know that people like Dillinger much more than they like Ziggler, at least right now, like in those hot crowds. So I think there's a couple things. Would I like Dillinger in it? Yeah, but it's just not his time yet.
I'm gonna go off script a little bit here, just skipping away from SmackDown. Do we know when Elimination Chamber is?
It
was in February of this year.
It's like way later on, yeah. So I kind of wish, because we talked about how strong the tag divisions are right now, I really wish that we didn't have the split of the rosters right now, because if you could imagine having a tag chamber match and you could throw in Hardys, Cesaro and Sheamus, Revival, American Alpha, New Day, and the Usos.
That'd be nice.
How amazing would that be?
Yeah.
Like, it could be so good. But anyway, I digress. Next up, we had a women's tag match. Who wants to take it? I didn't care for it.
What was it?
It was the Becky Lynch and who was it?
It was that tag match. Just
They don't have a date for 28.
these are all throwaway segments.
They were terrible.
Oh, wait.
I can't even remember exactly who was in it. I just remember seeing.
It was Becky and Charlotte against Carmella and Natalya, and they have Becky pin Carmella, who's been the hottest.
Right, yeah.
And Becky, who got pinned last night, gets it's just or submitted last night, even worse. And it's just it's a mess, dude.
Yeah, it was not good. So, whatever. We had something that you guys probably can talk about for a while. We had Zayn versus Corbin 2. We had the rematch because Corbin was pissed off, demanded a rematch. Zayn's your boy, Garrett. Go ahead, break it down. He's muted. Great. Charlie, break it down.
Yeah. Well, they locked up, punched, Zayn pinned it. 1, 2, 3. It was 19 seconds. I saw a counter.
Yeah.
Do you like the 19-second win?
Everyone thought we were like, all right, great. We get to watch like a really good match again. Yeah. Even though you love Zayn so much, Garrett, do you think this was the right call?
No. I think I made this jokingly on the last thing we did, the predictions. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to roll him up. Even though I know in my head, I was like, there's no way they're going to do that. Corbin's however tall he is, like, and 6'8", I would think.
I think that's my guess. 6'8". Yeah, he's 6'8".
All right. And whatever, probably 280 something or whatever. Like, so like it just makes you wonder. I found Elimination Chamber 2017. Interestingly enough, look who's on the cover. You can even see that. You see it?
Come on, bro.
John Cena.
That's who's on the cover. It's John Cena. But it's gonna be voice crack. It's gonna be February.
Holy shit!
That hasn't happened to me in a long time. Right? It's February 12th.
Big dick, big mad. Voice crack.
Yeah, that's the pay-per-view right before WrestleMania.
Yeah. So it would be interesting. So anyway, yeah, Zayn versus Corbin was not much of a match. It was pretty funny. So
after the match, put him on a stretcher.
So
that's
then
pretty good stuff.
Then we had Fashion Files, Final File, question mark.
Water guns.
What more can we say about these? It was fantastic. Pretty much, Breezango walks into McMahon's office. They go, "We know why you called us in here." Shane goes, "I didn't call you in here." He's like, "No, it's okay. It's okay. We know that after losing that match last night, we need to turn in our badges." And Shane McMahon's like, "You're not real cops, right?" Fandango's like, "Sometimes we think that way too." And Shane's so confused. And they turn in their badges, and Shane's like, all right. And he's like, I have other things to turn into. Pulls out it literally looks like shit. They went backstage, like they walked up to like the makeup people or like some of the girls hanging out in the hallway with a basket, and they just said, "Yo, throw a bunch of shit in this basket." There's like a wig, a comb, a lint roller. Those are the three things that I definitely saw in there. Like
a scarf or something.
Yeah, like just like random shit. And it's like, okay, and they're like, we got to turn everything in. So they just start like throwing shit on this desk. And then Shane goes, is there anything else that you need to turn in? And Tyler Breeze goes, "Do you need our guns?" And Shane literally goes, you have guns? And they go to pull it out. And it's just
like
stupid water guns. So they keep turning shit in, and Tyler Breeze completely pulls his pants down. And Shane McMahon's like, whoa, bro, what are you doing? He's like, all right, you're showing a little too much, all right? And then Shane's pretty much like, no, I want you to go out there. You're going to have singles matches. I want you to prove to me that you're still worthy to be the number one contenders. And, so Fandango goes, we're back on the case. And they grab all their shit. Fandango grabs a donut. And they walk off, and that goes into their their matches. Did they win both of them?
Yes.
They did, right?
And then there was the title match.
Yeah. So they won both of their singles matches, which set up a title match where they all faced each other, which is very cool. I like that stipulation.
Yeah,
so, if you both win your singles matches, then let's go straight into it. You get a title match.
This is a thing where normally they'd just announce a rematch on Facebook or YouTube an hour and a half before the show. Why not do a little 5-minute segment to get it set up?
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 wins don't hurt or 2 losses don't hurt the Usos.
And what's funny is it's entertaining and it kills time, and yet Raw can't.
Exactly. It made the tag teams look like people were enjoying it. They simply enjoyed it. That's the best way to put it. So.
Yeah.
So we had something in between these, but we'll just talk about the matches since it's more streamlined. So they both ended up. I think they might have both won via roll up.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So they kept the Usos looking strong, and then when it got to the actual match, we had a couple near falls for Breezango, but the Usos end up winning again. And it was just great. There were stakes in the match. Usos still look strong. Breezango looks like everyone is rooting for them, but they can't win yet. It's not their time. And I completely agreed with everything that happened. Did you, Garrett?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this only advances where they're going with it further, and like you said, if we can get more of this, it'd be great.
So
taking advantage of their opportunity.
Exactly,
guys. I think my voice broke. Jeez,
that sounded a little bit hoarse.
Before we had the matches, we had the Jinder Mahal Punjabi celebration. Something that I want to talk about. They kicked off the show not necessarily with Shane McMahon. That was the first segment, but really they kicked off the show with the 2 Indian cars, like SUVs, rolling up, and just like they did last week on SmackDown and just like they did Backlash, where they rolled out the carpet and Jinder Mahal comes out. Mm-hmm. Something I hate that WWE did, and it was so blatantly obvious, was when Jinder Mahal stepped out of the car, this pumped-in, manufactured, someone recorded, WWE hired 10 guys to stand in a hallway and go, USA, USA. I don't know why.
That's pretty dumb.
Foreign means that you have to be a heel. And automatically, if you wear some sort of head guard, you are automatically deemed a Muslim and they all hate you. Because I cannot tell you how many people probably think that Jinder Mahal's character is that he's a terrorist.
Damn.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Because people are ignorant and they don't know. And Vince McMahon, even though he's Indian and his religion is Sikh, even though people in America generally, they just see some sort of head garb and they just assume they're a Muslim, they're a terrorist. And that's what Vince McMahon is pushing, is that it's United States versus the terrorist, which is all brown people. And I hate it because he doesn't want people to think for themselves, obviously, because he's pumping in some stupid USA chants. And I hate that so much, because it's let people think what they want to think. And if they want to cheer this guy, then let them cheer it. Vince McMahon tuned into Backlash and heard all the cheers he was getting. And he's like, oh, shit. They're not supposed to cheer him because John Cena's going to come beat this guy in 30 seconds on 4th of July. And that way people can go, USA, USA.
I feel like that should only be chanted with the USA, with the United States belt.
I feel like this has something to do with the fact that Linda McMahon is in the Trump administration.
Yeah.
And they had maybe they're just trying to push a narrative that benefits her, I don't know.
I agree. I mean, people, they see him people aren't gonna go research what religion he is or even any of that. You know, it's just, I don't know. It's just a stupid thing. And the thing is, Jinder Mahal comes out and his promos are, you know, I'm pissed off because people are racist towards me and they judge me based on my skin tone and because of what I wear. Why aren't we cheering for that guy? How is that not a face? Why are we cheering for, like, why are we cheering for hatred? I hate that. Like, you know, especially as a school teacher, like, I don't know, man. It's just stupid.
Well, that's funny.
What?
His birth middle name is Singh. That's funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's actually from Calgary, Alberta. I thought he's Canadian. Yep. Cool. He's been wrestling since 2002.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They kind of, a lot of the people will ignore that he's Punjabi even, or, you know, and they'll just go right to, like you said, they'll see the Taliban, or what's it called?
Taliban. Jesus, bro. It's, man.
Yeah, no, it's called turban.
More subtle racism.
They'll go straight to that they think he's a Muslim.
Hold on, let me see. Okay, yeah, it's called a turban in that religion as well. I was gonna say I wasn't sure if it was still called a turban or not.
It's definitely not a Taliban. I don't know why,
dude. Like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
See, once again, people look at him and be like, "Oh, he's in the Taliban. Dude's in ISIS." I swear to God, though, like, one thing I'm really grateful they didn't do, to my knowledge, I didn't catch it at least. They did not make any reference about the Manchester bombings to Jinder Mahal.
Let's just be clear really quickly. We're not trying to make light of terrorism at all, or especially in the light of that. I just want to make that really clear.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get where you were going. I just didn't want it to be misconstrued.
Just chant USA at the guy because he's Indian is pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's brown. We need to chant USA because us fat Americans in our wheelchairs eating fucking balls of cheese all day, all night. Fucking that's what we need to
went right to eating the balls.
Right. Yeah. I hate it. So anyway, we had the Jinder Mahal Punjabi celebration. You know,
that was cool.
I liked it. It was cool. They came out like, this is shit that we teach in school. Like, oh, we should celebrate these traditions. Like, they came out and they had streamers and they were dressed in like beautiful clothing and stuff like that. And meanwhile, who's the announcer that likes it? JBL, who we're supposed to boo everything that he says. So it's obvious that it's like, oh God, other cultures other than ours? Fuck that guy. That's what they want us to think, and I hate it. Whatever.
Vince McMahon's old. He doesn't really get them all.
Yeah, but I hate using that as an excuse. I'm not giving him an excuse anymore. So, now that I got that off my chest, sorry for the rant. Went on a good 8 rant about Jinder Mahal and WWE. So, I had to say it. So,
these are the bigger problems I have with Jinder Mahal as a champion, because it's obvious that Vince McMahon does not care about Jinder Mahal's heritage or his history or his whatever, you know what I mean? He just knows that there's a really big market for wrestling in India that he hasn't been able to break into since he lost Khali. You know, and is there any other, like, other than Jeet, is there any other Indian superstars that they don't already have on the main roster? No. So if he's going to break into the market, he's got to put the belt on this guy. And it's really obvious now how he's just doing it to break into that market with this basically making fun of cultural appropriation segment, you know.
Yeah.
Something else of note is TNA is doing well in India. So that you know, that came out a couple months ago, and they announced that they're doing tapings there for their TV. So, and then
what is Sandow? Is he like just like what is he?
See.
He's at the bottom of the indies right now, man. He's not.
No, I know. I'm not saying he's popular or anything, but he's in TNA, I think. But
no, he's out now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he left last month. 2 months ago.
That's sad. They should have done something with him.
He had a 2-day title run, and that was about it.
He was interesting at first when he came on there before I stopped watching TNA. Maybe because I just seen him on WCPW.
So I don't know. We're running a little long, but we had a women's feud promo that just basically set up a fatal 5-way,
which I'm down with.
for the
Adding
title.
something
Yeah,
to
it's gonna
next
be
week.
good.
Setting up next week thing. I'm down with
So it
it.
was Becky, Natalia, Charlotte,
Carmella.
Carmella, and then obviously Naomi for the title, which I'm down with. Yeah,
Yeah, should be
it
interesting.
should be good. So
They could swerve us and give someone the belt in
the
that
main
match.
event, we had AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, awesome, against Owens and Dolph Ziggler. I could do without Ziggler, but it makes sense with the feuds that they just had, and so
Yep.
Well, who else do you
Well,
put in that match? Like,
yeah, exactly. So it was cool seeing Styles and Nakamura in the same ring in a WWE ring.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
It's just really neat. Like I hope that they just get them going as buddies and tag them up more. Like literally just have them face like every combination of heels you possibly can.
no, like what I would love.
What?
Go ahead and finish. But I have a thing I would love to see.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and then it culminates on Styles turning on Nakamura, setting up the big Mania match.
That's what I was going with. You play this out a little bit. Like you have him be like AJ's go-to guy, and then he like maybe helps AJ, and then AJ goes in and whatever feud he helps him in to win a belt, and then AJ turns on Nakamura immediately. Like Nakamura comes down, he's like, "Yeah, AJ, you won." And he's like, "Aha, punch!" Like.
See, I would go the way of Nakamura is obviously he's getting the bigger pops. Nakamura is the new guy. He's the one that everyone wants to cheer for, and all the pops every time Nakamura got tagged in, it was a louder pop than when he tagged in Styles. So they could be good friends, good buddies from back in Japan. Blah blah blah. They're glad to be together. But every pay-per-view, Nakamura just gets a little more recognition than Styles, and it starts eating at him, and the jealousy just starts seeping in. And then they have something along the lines of Styles and Nakamura are both in like Elimination Chamber or something, along those lines, to where Nakamura, he ends up being the one that wins the title, and Styles came like so close. And it's like Styles comes out and they do the standard, go to shake hands, and Styles just hits him with a clash, sending it into Mania,
Yeah.
I'll be down.
So the match itself was really good. Styles is really good at making it seem like they fucked up a move, but they didn't, and then he crashes and burns intentionally.
Oh yeah.
Like Ziggler did a move where he threw him up over and he landed on the ropes. It looked like Styles legitimately just like caught his face right on the rope and just died.
Yeah, he is like the best at taking assumedly ruined spots and just turning them into something better, because he's the best at taking dangerous. I think like he's the best in the company of maybe like a Zayn or an Owens, but like of taking dangerous bumps that should kill somebody. Of course, Owens did that chair spot, but but either way, that still isn't like quite the same thing as when you just on the fly change stuff. You're saving James Ellsworth, all kinds of different stuff you could name from just his first run. That he's just created opportunities out of it and makes him look stronger. So I'm down. More of that stuff, AJ. But don't hurt yourself, please.
Exactly. Charlie, anything to add?
Just you guys kind of hit it all, and it was a good match. A little slow. And something of note, they've been doing the commercial play-ins all night, but they didn't do it for the main event. That was a little weird.
Yeah.
But,
the main event was a lot of television, though. There wasn't a whole lot of commercials, I don't think.
I mean, you can tell that there are certain companies that refuse to let their commercial go on picture-for-picture. Chances are, if I had to guess, the business side of it is WWE, if they're going to put an ad on picture for picture, then the companies don't have to pay the network as much money because they're not getting a full screen. It's like if you get a quarter page taken out in the local paper, like obviously it's going to be less than half page,
Yeah.
So it's a similar thing. So companies are like, oh, cool. Okay, well, our ad's still going to be up there. So like we can pay less money and we still get advertising, as it is. So I don't know. It's win.
Their compromise to give us more wrestling on a show, because they can now say there's these tiers of ads. You can either have picture-in-picture ads or non-picture-in-picture ads, and they can charge a lot more for those, 5-minute time slots where they just shove all of them in without any picture-in-picture. So it's good for business and it's good for advertisers, because it means that the company will be able to put on bigger and better pay-per-views, and we may even see something along the lines of bragging rights, but better, where we have
exactly.
multiple.
And then
the big four.
the last thing to go back to it, we at the end of Raw, we had a little setup for next week, which was Finn Balor was talking to Kurt Angle backstage. Kurt Angle mispronounced Finn Balor as Finn Balor.
Kurt Angle.
So yeah, basically Finn Balor said, "Hey, you know, fatal 5-way match. 4 of the guys were in the main event tonight. I wasn't in it. You know, I want in on the fun." And so Kurt Angle said, "All right. So next week we're gonna do Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, Samoa Joe in a triple threat match as the co-main event, and then we're gonna end with Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins in the main event." And I mean, they're doing the combinations of guys that normally we bitch about, but man, I'm excited for those 2 matches next week.
I have one gripe with this. Like, if you have Joe and Finn in this match, just imagine how much better of a match it would be in terms of storytelling if you just had Rollins in there. And in technical ability, too. I mean...
But then we'd be left with the Roman and Bray.
I can deal with that.
I mean, I'd honestly rather have, like, Roman versus Joe and then Seth, Bray, and Balor.
I guess my problem with Rollins versus Roman is that you're going to determine in this match whether or not they're going to have one of the person. Like, they don't even turn heel, but just not like the other person enough to attack
I think they'll
them.
have Seth win, since he's the one that's definitely not going to win. You know, knock on wood. He's definitely, like, the least likely to win at the pay-per-view, and they always like to have whoever win, you know, not go over. So if I had to guess, they'll probably have Seth win and Bray win, and yeah.
I just feel like
And next week's already the go home show for it. So
yeah,
that's one of my problem is that if you have Rollins stand tall in that match, does that mean Roman's going to win the belt or the number 1 contendership? I mean, like,
I don't think either of them are winning it. So
everyone thinks it's Finn, but I mean, it could easily be Bray. I mean, I don't know.
makes sense.
but anyway, SmackDown grades. Going back to SmackDown, I will give SmackDown. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll give it a solid B. Charlie?
I'm gonna give it a B plus. This is it brought us back to kind of what made SmackDown so great, and why it was just head and shoulders above Raw in 2016.
Yep.
And this really felt like that show.
It's
And
obvious that like SmackDown is the A show, and then Raw and NXT are tied for the B show.
yeah. So
Yeah.
This is a good week. It was a good 2 hours. It flew by. Only thing I didn't really like was the women, so that's why the grade's a little down. So, but that's it.
Yeah, Garrett?
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a solid B because the women's division on SmackDown right now is just hurting. They need to call somebody up, like a Ruby Riott or a Nikki Cross, or well, I can't do Nikki Cross without
Hell no,
Sanity.
you cannot call up either Ruby Riott or Nikki Cross right now. They'd get destroyed.
Nah, dude, I'm saying there needs to be something interesting in this division because they raided it. They got the 2-for-1, and
Bring back
yes,
AJ Lee and the world is salt.
yeah, you never gonna happen. It's just like CM Punk, never gonna happen. And Paige, she's
Wouldn't
just
it be
gone.
nice, though? Imagine if AJ Lee and Paige were here, though. How
If
nice
they
would
both
that
came back at the same time, imagine how interesting the division would get.
That would be nice. I'd be down. So
They could be a team called Paige A. Lee.
get out.
Yeah.
Charlie, just end it. Just end it.